Man Hour Nation, it's your boy BC Beastie Brandon Combs coming to you with a special message. 22 veterans a day commit suicide. Now, that's 22 too many. And here at the Man Hour, we want to bring awareness to this. Our brothers and sisters deserve our support and our help. With the Take 22 merch, it's a small opportunity to show our appreciation and support to our veterans and take a small step to ending veteran suicide and treating PTSD properly. Every dollar spent on our Take 22 merch will be donated to the cause. So Man Hour Nation, rise up and show your support.
Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs. You know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA. We the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live, all 3 speaks go. All 3 speaks go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckasha here with the Man Hour. Be sure to head over to manhourradio.com and check out the merchandise page. We got Beastie merch there. We got Team Buck merch there. We got the Man Hour logo merch over there. Of course, we got Takeaway 22 merch as well. All proceeds from the Takeaway 22 merch goes to a non-profit motorcycle organization based out of Topeka, Kansas, because 22 Americans every day commit suicide. 22 veterans, I should say, commit suicide every day, and that is 22 too many. And this nonprofit motorcycle organization based out of Topeka, Kansas helps with PTSD from veterans to EMS to firefighters, pretty much anybody experiencing PTSD or needs help just in general. This nonprofit motorcycle organization helps out with that particular need. So guys, be sure to head over to manhourradio.com right now and check out the Takeaway 22 merch here. So guys, welcome to the Man Hour morning show here. We are live here on Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. It is roughly 6:15 here in the morning. And guys, we do have a great show for you lined up tonight. This is going to be a live 2-hour show, live interactive. So guys, if you want to jump on the text line, text us at 812-648-HOUR. That is 812-648-4687. The text lines are brought to you by Skull Candy Original Headphones. Be sure to head over to skullcandy.com and use promo code MANHOUR at checkout, and they will hook you up and save you some dollar bills, y'all. These are the best things you put in your ears since sliced bread. They don't say that, but I say that. We see some people jumping up in the chat here. I see Rule the Jungle. I see my man Drew over there, Alpha Rob, Michelle. We got Beastie over there in the chat as well, guys. So welcome to the show. Well, guys, I'm super glad you guys are all here this morning here, bright and early. We do got a great show for you guys lined up today. Like I said, we are going to talk some NFL free agency on the quarterback side of things. We talked about wide receivers yesterday, but we're going to talk about quarterbacks today. What else we got? Ain't nobody got time for that. What? Ain't nobody got time for that. I do not have the jingle lined up on this side, so you guys are going to have to bear with me on that one. Ain't nobody got time for that. And then, of course, we're going to talk some NFL Combine as well. Winners and losers of the NFL Combine. Day number 4 is officially in the books here on the Combine. Hour number 2. That's right. I'm going to get on the phone. Beastie Brandon Combs himself will be on the line with us on hour number 2 as he sets his trek to work there. I'm going to talk some Indianapolis Colts with him. I'm going to talk some Calvin Ridley stuff. Some more information on the Calvin Ridley thing is coming out. And of course, we're going to talk some Aaron freaking Rodgers coming up on the show as well. The Green Bay Packers have offered him, quote, an astronomical deal that might change the landscape of all quarterbacks. What? Come on, man. I mean, I know he's a back-to-back MVP and all that good stuff. We get it. But at the end of the day, man, you got to slow it down, baby. If you pay Aaron freaking Rodgers all that freaking money, what about Devontae Adams? What about Chris Godwin? What about Alan Lazard? Come on now. We talked about this yesterday, and Devontae Adams might well be good as gone. But guys, if you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit us up on youtube.com/manhour. You can also follow me on the old Twitter machine at manhour_buck. I'm normally on camera, but my house is a little disarrayed right now as we are finally getting unpacked after 7 months of living in a house. We are finally starting to get the necessities out there. And so we are, everything is just a mess. And I, quite frankly, I'm a little embarrassed about it. But what I'm not as embarrassed about is the word of the day. Let's get started.
Well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird's a word, well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird's a word, well, a bird, bird, bird.
All right, guys, that is it. As we do start every show here with the word of the day. And today's word of the day is going to be 2 words. It's going to be franchise tag. So as you guys know, the NFL offseason is starting to take shape here. Franchise tags are being basically issued. Or I mean, obviously we can't start till March 14th here, but things are starting to get lined up. You know, contracts are being offered. Franchise tags are being offered. You know, all this good stuff here. And the Kansas City Chiefs decided to franchise tag an offensive lineman by the name of Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown came over from the Baltimore Ravens last season, definitely anchored down that young offensive line. They had the center of the year and the guard of the year rookies, you know, both rookies, and Orlando Brown officially got the franchise tag for the Kansas City Chiefs. But what does this do for the defensive side of the ball? This basically means that Tyrann Mathieu will now be testing free agency with the, this season, this offseason, the 2022 season. Many people are kind of discouraged about this a little bit, and quite frankly, I do not understand why. Yes, Tyrann Mathieu was a heart and soul of the defense on the Kansas City Chiefs this season, or this last season in 2021. When Tyrann Mathieu was in the game, keyword was when he was in the game, he was a very, very good aspect to the Kansas City Chiefs. They looked a hell of a lot better when like he was in there. But on the flip side of the coin, Tyrann Mathieu is 30 years old. He is aging. He did have health issues last season, and he is going to warrant some money that could possibly be used in other spots on the defensive side of the ball. Now, Chris Jones is reportedly going to get the franchise tag as well. We will see about that, what happens. But Tyrann Mathieu come out and said that good luck replacing me. Good luck trying to find somebody that can, quote, lock down the field and lead your defense. Well, Tyrann Mathieu, sorry to say, man, but a defensive back lately has only been good for 2 or 3 years tops in the NFL. Let's flash back to Revis Island. Revis Island was the biggest thing to hit since sliced bread, right? About 3 years later, what happened? Now he's playing for prove it contracts and like all this stuff. Like clearly he did not do what he needed to do for a long-term deal, right? So there are players out there, Tyrann Mathieu, that can replace you. Will they be as good as you? Probably not, but only time will tell. But there are some really, really good safeties in this year's draft. There are a lot of good secondary players in this year's draft, and some of them, that one guy ran a 4.03 40-yard dash if you break down the film and really look at it, but clearly he ran a 4.3. I don't even remember the dude's name, but there are a lot of red flags when it comes to Tyrann Mathieu, unfortunately. So when we look at the franchise tag, the Kansas City Chiefs did franchise tag Orlando Brown for the 2022 season, and this is a staple for the Kansas City Chiefs. This was the best move the Kansas City Chiefs could have possibly made right here, right now. Let's flash back to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady, the Bucs versus the Chiefs. Why did the Kansas City Chiefs lose this game? Yes, the defense sucked, but the defense was put in a lot of bad positions that particular game because the offensive line was abysmal during the Super Bowl. Yes, what's-his-face tore his Achilles. I can't even remember his name off the top of my head right now. But that offensive line was exposed for the Kansas City Chiefs. They needed to address it, and they addressed it with this franchise tag. So that's why today's word is franchise tag. The Kansas City Chiefs finally did something right with the franchise tag. Orlando Brown has been tagged. There'll be a lot more tags coming up. We'll definitely be talking about that coming next week, guys, here on the Man Hour. But today's word of the day is franchise tag.
Well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird. A bird's a word. Well, a bird, bird, bird.
I see some text coming in here to the old text line here. And a texter says, this is the biggest mistake the Kansas City Chiefs have ever made. By not signing their lock-up guy on the defensive side of the ball, this is the biggest mistake that they could possibly make. Well, texter, I have to respectively disagree with you on this aspect here. Yes, Tyrann Mathieu is a very good talent on the defensive side of the ball. But let's flash back to, week 3, week 4, week 5 time frame there. Did he or did he not? Did Tyrann Mathieu not call the Kansas City Chiefs fan base the most toxic fan base in all of football? Did we forget about that? Did we forget that Tyrann Mathieu was like calling out Kansas City Chiefs coaches and players and all? And yes, I know he wanted to win, and he come back and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. It was taken out of context." Bullshit. It was not, it was not taken out of context. The defense was playing like dog crap. The offense was playing just as bad. And the simple fact of the matter is you wanted out. Now, all of a sudden, you are bitching and moaning about not getting a franchise tag, or I mean, maybe you're not getting a franchise tag because maybe, just maybe, the Kansas City Chiefs might be offering you some type of contract. Will it be a long-term contract? Probably not. But, Texter, for you to say that this is the most asinine, dumbest thing that the Kansas City Chiefs could have possibly done, you are absolutely wrong on this. Securing the offensive line will save your $500 million man. Your $1 billion man, the quarterback, the GOAT himself, right? Future GOAT, possibly. And if you want to win a Super Bowl right here, right now, Tyreek Hill is in his prime. Travis Kelce is in his prime. Chris Godwin could be coming to the Kansas City Chiefs. Hell, Allen Robinson II could be coming to the Kansas City Chiefs. I would say Calvin Ridley was coming to the Kansas City Chiefs as well, but obviously he is out for the rest of the 2022 season because of gambling issues. We'll get into that with Combs later. But simmer down now. The defense can be addressed in the draft. Kansas City Chiefs fans, I believe we have 7 or 8 draft picks this year. I don't have it pulled up in front of me by any means, and I don't have it off the top of my head. But when we go in and break down the combine later in today's show, you will understand why. That they are willing to let Tyrann Mathieu test the free agency market. Hey, he might come back to Kansas City Chiefs. You never know. He might be a Kansas City Chief come 2022 because the grass is always not greener on the other side. Let's just call a spade at the end of the day. Next texter says, and I truly thought Orlando Brown was going to leave the Kansas City Chiefs after this year and go back to Baltimore. Why would he want to go back to Baltimore? Why in the world would you want to go back to Baltimore? Come on, texter. To say that you thought that Orlando Brown was going to go back to Baltimore this offseason, you got to be asinine crazy about that. Orlando Brown had an excellent year for the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe he only allowed 2 sacks all season long. Why would you want to go back to a team like Baltimore that missed the playoffs, that is nowhere close to winning a Super Bowl, to play with an overrated quarterback like Lamar Jackson? The Huntley guy is better for the Baltimore Ravens than Lamar Jackson. Am I saying he's a better quarterback? No, but he is better for the Baltimore Ravens. So to say that Orlando Brown, you thought, come on, man. Orlando Brown is happy in Kansas City. You have, when you are with the Kansas City Chiefs for the next 4 or 5 years, you can almost write yourself into the Super Bowl, at least the AFC Championship game. Hell, you are almost guaranteed to go to the playoffs every year you are part of the Kansas City Chiefs right now. The Chiefs have something cooking right now. They have a 3 to 4 year window to win 2 more Super Bowls, and Orlando Brown wants every part of that. No question about it. Come on, texter. You're better than that. I know who you are. You're better than that, texter. Next texter comes in and says, Tyrann Mathieu is probably the most overrated safety in all of football. Let me repeat that. This texter says that Tyrann Mathieu is probably the most overrated safety in all of football. Wow. Okay. I can see where you're going with this texture, and I somewhat kind of agree with you to an extent. Now, to be overrated, I don't think Tyrann Mathieu is overrated. When Tyrann Mathieu was on the field for the Kansas City Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs looked like a totally different defense. He put players in the right position. He was around the ball. He made very little tackles because he was afraid to hit, but he was always around the ball somehow, some way. He was always influencing the play somehow, some way with the Kansas City Chiefs. With that being said, I do think somebody is going to overpay for Tyrann Mathieu this offseason, whether it be the Kansas City Chiefs, whether it be a team like the LA Rams. Hell, let's look at some teams that need defensive help, that have money to spend. The Jets, the Jaguars could use a safety like Tyrann Mathieu. The defense is already pretty set in Jacksonville, but they have a lot of cap room to play. They have what I believe was like $56 million, I believe, when we spoke yesterday, how much money they actually have on that, just as a cap in general. Miami comes to mind. There are teams out there that could use the services of a Tyrann Mathieu that is going to overpay. Now, if you said people will overpay, I would totally agree with you on that texture. But to say that he is overrated, slow it down, baby. Slow it down. Come on, you're better than that. Better than that. But guys, we are up against the first break right here on the Man Hour. Guys, if you have missed any part of the show whatsoever, or going to miss any part of the show whatsoever, you can find us on podcast form over on iTunes, Spotify, of course, iHeartRadio, or you can catch us on BellyUp.tv every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. East Coast time. So this show right here, bada bing, bada boom, it is right there, 8 a.m. East Coast time, right there on Belly Up TV. Or if you have Apple TV or Roku TV, search for Belly Up Sports, download that app, and watch it right there. Watch it on the big screen. When I get the camera back on, meaning the camera's on, I just got it shut off or on the different screen here. Once I'm back on camera, guys, I look pretty good in 4K. You get to see the big old blackheads on my nose. It's actually really awesome. It's really, really awesome. But guys, coming up on the other side of the break, we're going to talk free agent quarterbacks. I have 10 or so quarterbacks that I want to discuss about where they could possibly land. Possible landing starts for these aging and possibly overrated quarterbacks going into the 2022 NFL free agency season. All that and much more coming up, guys, here on the Man Hour. We'll be right back right after this.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your fucking cloud. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 Cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah. Give me fuel, it's a tool that I use to go ahead and run my fucking mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. That's how you get big box, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I ain't ain't done chasing. Got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase them? Face it, I don't give up quick, I don't give up shit, I won't give up this. Cause I know that I want it, know that I'm on it, I'll make it, I promise. You don't wanna fuck with me. A slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeister here on the Man Hour. Be sure to follow me on the old Twitter machine at manhour_buck. As I do upload clips over there, I talk some shit. I have some good time over there on the old tweet machine. So give me a follow over there at manhour_buck on the old Twitter machine. You could also follow the actual Man Hour show itself over there at man_hour_radio. A lot of underscores, but man_hour_radio on the old tweet Twitter machine over there as well. So guys, coming up here on hour number 2 on the Man Hour, I'm going to give the man, the myth, the legend himself a good old call, Mr. Brandon Beastie Combs. And we are just going to shoot the shit and have a good time, and we're going to talk some Carson Wentz. We are going to talk some Indianapolis Colts. We are going to talk some more of the Calvin Ridley suspension, and we're going to talk about his nemesis, Aaron freaking Rodgers, possibly getting the biggest contract ever as a quarterback in the NFL. So 37-year-old Aaron Rodgers could be the highest paid quarterback ever in the NFL. So speaking of quarterback, guys, free agency is well among us. We are 6 days away from official start of the NFL season, where teams can get franchise tagged and do deals and restructure and all that good stuff as they prepare for the draft and figure out what they exactly need going forward into the 2022 NFL season. Excuse me. Yesterday, we broke down some top 5 receivers. Today, I'm going to give you 10 quarterbacks that are free agents going into the 2022 season. Possibly my opinion as the top 10 quarterbacks in this free agency class. And breaking it down, guys, it looks pretty weak at best. So unfortunately, this quarterback class of the 2022 free agency list looks fairly weak, but I'm going to give you guys 10 quarterbacks that are free agents and could be looking for new teams here. And so the first one that comes to mind, we need to look no further than the state of Louisiana and the New Orleans Saints. Trevor Siemian, he is 30 years old, and last year he did throw for 1,154 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions with the New Orleans Saints. As Trevor Siemian did not play poorly for the Saints, he had a touchdown to intercept ratio above 3-1, 6 appearances with 4 starts, but he completed just 57% of his passes last year for the New Orleans Saints. That is not very good. And if you want to win some ball games with the New Orleans Saints, with a new coach, with some basically a team that's going to be not very good, you need to complete some passes. And maybe having Michael Thomas back for next year could help Trevor Siemian. But this is the biggest factor here, guys. The Saints went 0-4 when Trevor Siemian started the games last season. 0-4 as a starter last season. So Trevor Siemian is a free agent here, and looking at some teams that could possibly use the services of a Trevor Siemian, I think it comes very, very few and far between. And I think if he wants to land on a team anywhere to potentially be a starter, he's going to have to stay right there in New Orleans, because everywhere else, I don't see him being a starter. I don't see him being pretty much any good anywhere besides New Orleans. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, Trevor Siemian will probably be a career backup. Speaking of career backups, Ryan Fitzpatrick, or Fitzmagic as the people like to call the man, he did suffer a season-ending injury last season. I believe like a second play of the game or something to that effect. But he is 39 years old, this year. 2021 stats, 13 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. But we have to flash back to 2020 when he was basically the relief pitcher for the Miami Dolphins. And if he would have been the starter that whole season, would have definitely led them to the playoffs and had probably a playoff win, if not two. So Ryan Fitzpatrick probably doesn't have very many years left as a professional football player, considering he will be 40 years old in the 2022 season. But with that being said, he is still a decent quarterback. He is still Fitzmagic for a reason. He did throw 20 touchdowns to 13 interceptions for the Miami Dolphins just 2 seasons ago, back in 2020 season. So he still might have a little bit of it left in him, but Ryan Fitzpatrick has been a quarterback that comes in and plays fantastic for three or four games. Let's flash back to the Bucs when he had those 400-yard games with 5 touchdowns, right? And then he fell off the complete face of the earth. So Ryan Fitzpatrick is very up and down, and you never know what you're going to get with the man, unfortunately. And looking around the league, obviously the Washington Commanders now, they could probably use the services of a Ryan Fitzpatrick, be a good backup for Heineke, right? Then we look around and you see the Colts. The Colts is very intriguing because the Colts seem like they want to move on from Carson Wentz for whatever reason. I don't know why. We'll talk about that later with Combs and I here in hour number 2 on the Man Hour, not tonight, this morning. And Ryan Fitzpatrick could fit great in Indianapolis. So I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. Does Ryan Fitzpatrick in Indianapolis make sense? Next up, that is a free agent quarterback here. Number 8 on our list is Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy did throw for 740 yards last season, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, in replacement for Kyler Murray. And with Kyler Murray's career in Arizona kind of up in the air, we don't know what is going to go on with that. But Colt McCoy did play 8 games last season, and he made 3 starts in 2021. He went 2-1 as a starter with a very impressive win over the San Francisco 49ers back in week number 9. He was 75% completion percentage with 101 quarterback ranking in 2021. He also, when Kyler Murray did go down, he definitely helped him secure a playoff berth. And basically, Colt McCoy is a good backup. He has been a career backup ever since he left Cleveland. I don't know, it seems like forever ago, right? But if you look around the league, there are teams that need a good, reliable backup. Kansas City Chiefs come to mind. He could go back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the team that is most intriguing to me that could possibly fit that mold perfectly for a Colt McCoy, San Francisco 49ers. The interdivision team there in the San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy G is probably going to be gone for a trade for San Francisco 49ers, giving Trey Lance the starting realm. And you want a good, consistent backup that could come in there, complete 75% of his passes, lead you to a couple wins, and win you a lot of good games. So Colt McCoy to San Francisco makes sense in my eyes. Next up is Andy Dalton. That's right, top 10 Andy Dalton himself. Andy Dalton turns 34 years old this year. Last season for the Chicago Bears, he threw for 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 9 interception. But many people say, not me, but many people say that Andy Dalton is no longer the quarterback that is going to lead a team to the playoffs. He just isn't that leader anymore. He is probably a career backup. He has a 64% completion percentage or better over the last 2 seasons, but he will not put up prolific stats. He will not complete 75% of the passes. He will not throw for a 400-yard touchdown game or a 400-yard game with 5 touchdown game. He just isn't that guy. He is, however, a solid backup, just like I said about Colt McCoy. He is a solid backup. He will teach a young player how to be a great professional, much like what Andy did with Alex Smith did with Patrick Mahomes, taught him how to be a professional athlete. Andy Dalton to the Buffalo Bills makes sense to me because Mitchell Trubisky seems to be gone. Mitchell Trubisky seems to be a starter somewhere, but another career backup in Andy Dalton for the rest of his career if he decides to play. But now let's get into some starters here. Jacoby Brissett. He turned 29 years old this season. Last year, he threw for 1,283 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He did appear in 11 games, but just 5 starts. Completed 63% of his passes last year for the Miami Dolphins when Tua obviously battled through injuries in the 2021 season. He has experience. He was a starter for the Indianapolis Colts with 37 starts. He went 7-8 as a Colts starter in 2019. The quote experts, I want to use that term very, very loosely, said that Jacoby Brissett would be a very good backup for a contending team. False. Jacoby Brissett is a starter in the NFL. Jacoby Brissett is a starter in the NFL, whether it be for the Houston Texans, whether he goes back to Indianapolis, for the Jets, for the Giants. There's a team out there that could use the services of a Jacoby Brissett. And I think Jacoby Brissett will be a starter this season. But Mitchell Trubisky is a very intriguing type of player. He was a starter for the Chicago Bears for 51 games. He had 64 touchdowns, 37 interceptions. Last year, he had 43 yards for 1 interception. He was a backup to Josh Allen in Buffalo. He was a number 2 overall draft pick in 2017. But people say he's best suited as a backup. No. Mitchell Trubisky will find himself a starting job this season. We're talking about the Indianapolis Colts. You know where I really like Mitchell Trubisky? The Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Mitchell Trubisky and the Pittsburgh Steelers kind of had that grungy, something to prove, match made in heaven. They have a very good coaching staff. They have a very good running game. They have a good receiving core. They have a great defense. They just need a quarterback that can throw the ball down the field a little bit and not throw the ball away or throw it into double coverage and interceptions. Mitchell Trubisky to the Pittsburgh Steelers makes sense. I like it. I like it a lot. Next free agent on my list is Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor for the Houston Texans. Just under 1,000 yards last season. 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He does have 53 games of starting experience. In his career, he does have 59 touchdowns and 25 interceptions in 73 career games. But last season, he only played 6 games for the Houston Texans. But during those 6 games, he showed that he is still a very good talent. He can run the ball. He can throw the ball at a very impressive level. If Tyrod Taylor can stay healthy, not get his lung punctured, not blow out his knee, he could be a damn good quarterback in the league still. Flashback to Buffalo Bill days, he kind of got the short end of the stick there. He definitely got the short end of the stick of the in Chargers land, right? With the whole punctured lung, and then Justin Herbert coming out of nowhere, basically. But Tyrod Taylor to a team like the Jets, like the Giants. How about this? Tyrod Taylor to the Carolina Panthers. I like Tyrod Taylor to the Carolina Panthers this season. He will be the starter in Carolina if he goes there. Tyrod Taylor. Next up on the old free agent market here, Marcus Mariota. If you guys flash back to Marcus Mariota's Tennessee Titans day, it's not very good. I mean, he was ultimately replaced by Ryan Tannehill, and he has been a backup to Derek Carr for the last 3 seasons, maybe 4 seasons. Last year, he threw for 4 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He definitely did not see that much action because he was Derek Carr's backup, obviously. But he probably deserves to be in another start. He definitely deserves another chance of being a starter. He's very mobile. And he's only 28 years old. He can definitely excel in the right system. So he definitely is going to be a system quarterback. So when you think about that, when you think of a player like Marcus Mariota, let's look no further than the Arizona Cardinals. I think Marcus Mariota to the Arizona Cardinals makes the most sense. With the Kyler Murray's kind of up in the air, what better way to really erase the short fallings of Kyler Murray, no pun intended. Actually, there's a lot of pun intended there. Bringing a player like Marcus Mariota with something to prove, a chip on his shoulder. Arizona Cardinals have something to prove with a chip on their shoulder. They have DeAndre Hopkins. They have a great defense. They have a running game. They have James Conner and the all the names are slipping my mind, but they have a great team over there. They're short a quarterback. Speaking short of quarterback, the Denver Broncos will probably be short another quarterback this season, but they are just a quarterback away. Teddy Bridgewater is a free agent this season. Threw for 3,052 yards last season, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in just 14 games. Those are pretty good stats for playing just 14 games. He completed 67% of his passes. That puts him third on the list in completion percentage while underneath pressure. So when you get pressure on Teddy Bridgewater, he is going to deliver the ball 59% of the time, just behind Jimmy G and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is probably the best underneath pressure, hands down. So when we think about that, what is a team that has a crappy offensive line? Houston Texans. A team that gets a lot of pressure on their quarterback? Houston Texans. Teddy Bridgewater to Houston makes a lot of sense because obviously Deshaun Watson is out. Davis Mills might be the answer, but I don't think he's quite there yet. Why not bring a player like Teddy Bridgewater to give Davis Mills that little bit of cushion, you know? But yeah, Teddy Bridgewater is a free agent this year, guys, and I think he's going to go to Houston Texans. Now, the number one free agent this year going into 2022, we're going back to Louisiana, New Orleans Saints. This quarterback suffered a torn ACL in Week 8. Had a 14-3 touchdown he had 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, 1,100 yards. That is Mr. Top 10 quarterback himself per Beastie Combs, Jameis Winston. I don't think Jameis Winston is going anywhere, guys. I think Jameis Winston is happy in New Orleans. I think the New Orleans Saints are happy to have Jameis Winston. My man Jameson is in the chat. What's up, Jameson? I see you, big guy. Jameson's a huge Nebraska fan, and I feel so bad for him every time they play. But we digress on that. It is crazy to think that Winston goes from 50 touchdowns to 30 interceptions to questioning where he is going to be, right? He was a 5-2 record with the New Orleans Saints last season. Obviously, he was injured Week 8. He was great. 14 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. That is pretty damn good. And I think the Saints love him. And I think the Saints are going to get married with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston isn't going anywhere this year, guys. He is staying in New Orleans. Some other notable free agents that probably mean much of nothing, but Cam Newton is a free agent. Joe Flacco is a free agent as well. Blaine Gabbert, Mike Glennon, Mr. Longneck himself, Brian Hoyer, and Brandon Allen. All free agents probably won't sign anywhere. That's just the way it is at the end of the day. But, guys, those are my top 10 quarterbacks this year going into the 2022 NFL free agency season. Who do you think will be the steal of this year? Jameis Winston? Teddy Bridgewater? Marcus Mariota? My steal is going to be Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett will be a starter this year in the NFL. I don't know where. I think he'll end up back in Indy. To be honest, I was kind of upset when Indy traded him. But guys, we'll be right back here on the Man Hour. We got Ain't No Time for That coming up sometime in hour number 2. But I'm going to give my man Beastie Combs a call here. I'm going to get him on the old telephone. I'm going to talk to him. Right back on to Man Hour. We'll be back.
I'm home from work and relaxing.
I watch Man Hour while doing dishes.
In bed, hiding from the wife and kids.
What do you do when your husband and kid are obsessed with the Man Hour? You watch it with them.
Watch the Man Hour. Check it out.
I give a slight edge, Mike, to Marquette because they're playing on their home court. And Marquette's been taking care of business on the road. Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up. Station not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're out the dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live, all 3 speaks go.
You're watching Man Hour. Hit that like button, baby.
Man Hour Nation, it's your boy BC Beastie Brandon Combs coming to you with a special message. 22 veterans a day commit suicide. Now, that's 22 too many. And here at the Man Hour, we want to bring awareness to this. Our brothers and sisters deserve our support and our help with the Take 22 merch. It's a small opportunity to show our appreciation and support to our veterans and take a small step to ending veteran suicide and treating PTSD properly. Every dollar spent on our Take 22 merch will be donated to the cause. So Man Hour Nation, rise up and show your support.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Bukasha here with the Man Hour. Head over to manhourradio.com and check out the merchandise page. The Beastie merch is there. The Team Buck merch is there. The Man Hour logo merch is there as well. Anything you possibly need in the merchandise realm is over there at manhourradio.com. We got hoodies, we got beanies, we got t-shirts, we got joggers, we got leggings, we got sports bras, we got book bags, we got coffee mugs, we got tumblers. Anything you need, guys. Anything you need. Ever could possibly need, manhourradio.com. Check it out, merchandise page. Also, the blog session, guys, is back up and live over there as well. We got some great blogs happening over there by yours truly. I'm no writer by any means. I type what I'm thinking about saying, and it could all be punctually incorrect or grammarly incorrect, but you know what? It is real, it is raw, it is uncut, just like it is here on the Man Hour, guys. Each and every day, right here on BellyUp.tv. You can also download on Roku and Apple TV as well. Simply look for Belly Up Sports channel over there on Roku and Apple TV. But it is time every Tuesday here, right around this time. We got Ain't Nobody Got Time for That.
Nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
That's right, guys, and ain't nobody got time for that. If you guys are new here, basically, we get some stories, and we see if we got time for that or not. So, ain't no time for that right now. Number one is coming up from the NBA realm there, and LeBron James scored 56 points last week in a win over the Golden State Warriors. Here, he is 37 years old, and he said, and I quote, We are still champions, and we still have a chance until they bury me 12 feet down. So just a few days later, LeBron James sits out with a sore knee. So LeBron James, I guess your sore knee is 12 feet under for you burying, right? So LeBron James and your 56 points. Yes, I still like you, LeBron James. I still think you are the GOAT. I still think you are arguably you are the best basketball player ever, better than Michael Jordan, better than Kobe Bryant, better than all those people out there. But to say that you are still the man at 37 years old, yes, I see the 56 points. Yes, I see you guys are like in 8th place and still possibly have a chance of making the playoffs or 10th place. I don't even know what place you guys are in. But then after you say this, after you score 56 plus points, the very next game, you sit out for a sore knee when you have to win. You have 5 weeks left in the NBA season, and you're sitting out because of a sore knee. Come on, LBJ.
Nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Definitely ain't nobody got time for that, LeBron James. But next up on the ain't no time for that, Coach K. Coach K finally played his final game as the Duke head coach at home this last weekend. However, he did lose that game to North Carolina. Some people, some experts out there, I use the term very, very loosely because I think experts are an overrated term, but they say maybe the emotional of the game or the emotions of the game was too much for Coach K to coach a good game. Maybe they wanted to lose that game to get fine-tuned for the tournament run. So first things first, guys. If you have watched any Duke basketball this year, Coach K has done very little coaching. Unfortunately, he has just been like the figurehead this season, and the assistant coaches and the new head coach has already been named. I can't even remember his name off the top of my head, but they have been doing their thing. Coach K has just been a figurehead all season long. He has taken the brunt of all the blame and all this other stuff. He has also taken all the glory. But unfortunately, to say it was too emotional for him to win that last game, that's absolutely stupid. I don't got time for that whatsoever. But then this raised my eyebrows when they said sometimes you have to lose to win more, which I totally agree. You have to lose to kind of reset the mind for a good run. The Duke Blue Bells have been great all season long. They are a Final Four team. They are a championship caliber team. They are probably going to win this year's tournament. Writing's almost on the wall. But to say that Coach K lost it on purpose to reset their team, his final game against a rival, North Carolina?
Nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
My next ain't nobody got time for that is going out to Zion Williams, or maybe Zion Williams. But Zion Williams has officially been cleared for basketball activities for his third season going into his third season in the NBA. But he still has not been at practice, still has not appeared in a game, still hasn't even appeared in the facilities for the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williams played 24 games his rookie year. He had a pretty good second year. He played 61 of 72 games. But this year, third year, he's played 0 games. 5 weeks left in the regular season, and he's played 0 games. Zion Williams signed a 3-year, $30.7 million contract. So, guys, Zion Williams has played 85 games and will bank over $30 million. Take that into perspective. What's that, like almost $500,000 a game or something? I don't know. Math is rough there. $400,000 a game by simply not even doing nothing. And he's openly said that he wants to go to New York and play with his buddies. New Orleans Pelicans, you guys got screwed in this deal. But Zion Williams, man, are you the next Greg Oldham, man? Hopefully not.
Nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Those are some weak, ain't nobody got time for that, guys. I'm not even going to lie. Not even going to front. But this next one here, this one might be a little bit of fire. Might raise some controversy. Might be some red flags here. But women's college basketball conference tournaments have officially wrapped up. Kentucky upsetted South Carolina in the last-second game throw that everybody's talking about. You've seen it on ESPN. You saw Coach Cal rooting on the Cats, having a great time. NCAA, or the women's basketball tournament, we start here in a couple weeks. Are we even excited for this? No. We're not excited. Why? Because it's rival with NBA playoffs. It's rivaling with men's college basketball tournament. It's rivaling with the NIT. It's rivaling with the NFL draft, the combine. Nobody's excited about women's college basketball tournament. Now, I do think women's college basketball is a great tournament. I do enjoy watching it, but I'm not excited about it. There is a reason why the WNBA plays in July. Because it can legitimately not rival the NBA. So, I take this into perspective here. If the WNBA plays in the summertime, why doesn't college basketball women's play in summertime? Why don't high school women's basketball play in summertime? Now, I know why the high school doesn't do it because, school year, all that good stuff. But let's move college women's basketball to summertime. Let's start it in, when is the women's college, WNBA starts pretty much the day of the NBA finals. And it goes up to the start of the NBA season, if I'm not mistaken. They might overlap a week or two. College basketball, because women's college basketball should be the same thing. Unfortunately, ain't nobody got time for women's college basketball tournament, unfortunately. Kentucky, you guys are my girls. I am a Kentucky fan. Great win over South Carolina. But unfortunately,
nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Belly Up Sports fans? Thanks for tuning in to the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. We have some really exciting news for several Belly Up Podcast Network shows. The Sports Stove Podcast, the Rough Cut Sportscast, and Here in Puckburg have all been nominated for a Sports Podcast Award. So, head on over to sportspodcastawards.com and make sure to vote for the Sports Stove Podcast for Best College Sports Podcast and Best News and Current Affairs Podcast. Vote for the Rough Cut Sportscast for Best American Football Podcast, and vote for Here in Puckburg for Best Winter Sports Podcast. Again, that website is sportspodcastawards.com. Thanks for being the best part of Belly Up Sports. We are what they are.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. what the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack.